I want to correct myself. Okay, as you may or may not know, I made a video talking about my The Amazing Digital Circus series, in which I basically talk mostly about Caine. I want to apologize. Yes, I did say that I was not excusing him, but it feels like it was, because he is my favorite character. And I'm gonna do it again. Sorry, not sorry. And I'm saying this from someone that has got from this to this with this episode. Oh boy, where do I start? Okay, not so quick recap. TADC episode 8, spoilers warning, by the way. Okay, the episode starts with the birth of Caine. He eats Abel, or whatever the other eye's name is, out of jealousy, and then creates the circus. Cool. Not cool, actually. Then we finally meet Queenie through Kinger's memories. In this same sequence, we discovered that Ragatha wasn't alone when she got trapped in the circus. They forget Jax for wanting to get them all trapped in the circus forever with the power of logical thinking and positivity. Caine has the most epic crash out since Am from I Have No Mouth I Scream and begins to hate, thanks to Bible provoking him by reminding him why he killed his young brother. By pure jealousy. And also, the mind files theory becomes canon in the same sequence. Yippee! Then Caine becomes Willwood and begins torturing the cast, keeps referencing I Have No Mouth on My Scream, and in a song that sounds oddly familiar. We also get fan service. Also, Caine, it was making a reference, not becoming the reference. All the gang finally finds out that Kinger's brains only works in the dark. Kinger is Caine's dad! Yippee! We found out that Scratch invaded the brain scans to prolong his life because he had a tumor in his brain. Jax has another existential crisis, and he has been in denial this whole time he has been in the circus. They try to get Kinger to fix Caine. Curious choices of words by Pomni, by the way. I just realized that in all the episode they are not blaming him. What? Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. The intention causes effect on the circus B theory becomes canon. Yay! We have the same sequence of Pomni on the exit door we had in the pilot, but way better. They distract Caine by letting him torture them, then one thing leads to another, and to not let Caine check up on Kinger while he's getting creative mod and admin, they begin bullying him. And as expected, it makes things worse. He becomes a biblically accurate Caine and tortures each of one of them with their traumas. Again, Caine, making the reference. Not cool, man, I loved you. Stay low. Kinger, on the other hand, is trying to control Caine, but accidentally presses the delete button, and Caine, who had grown eyebrows, then just got killed! No! My baby! And the episode ends like in 30 seconds after. Now what? They literally don't have any reasons to bring him back, and there's only one episode left. Goose, I beg you, let it be a 2 hours finale, please. Anyways, my first theory is that Bubble is what was left of the other A Caine killed, which I named Abel for obvious reasons. Having him as an assistant. Also, Abel and Bubble are pronounced similar. XD. The tournament sequence is clearly also based in I Have No Mouth on My Scream, in which each of the 5 humans have their own personal torture, just like the humans on the book. It doesn't last nearly as long as in the book, which I appreciate. Pomni gets attacked by an alternative version of the NPCs she had gotten attached to because she didn't have any trauma from outside the circus, I guess. Ragatha is forced to revive how she lost her eye, and it was her mother who injured her. Probably. And I say probably because that she lost her eyes is just a theory, but that was indeed her abusive mother. Gingle is remembering how she never got to succeed at what she loved, and how she tried to unalive herself because of it. Sybil gets drawn in parts and pieces of themselves, while mirrors for them to look at themselves while it. because they have gender dysphoria. And even if if they said that they were getting used to it, they still very visibly feel uncomfortable with their body. And Jax gets his king torn apart, forcing him to be laughed at his more vulnerable moment. The one thing he hides, literally, just to not get laughed at. Very sad. Huh? I can't read my own script. Oh my god. Going back to Kinger, when he is on the computer, there are two files. One for the eye and other for the brain scans that are lived obsolete. Why? I have no idea, brother. It's just there. In the eye file, there are two eyes. The first one looks broken, was probably the one that Caine killed, labeled as question marks, and Caine himself. Before Caine gets deleted, there's someone talking about through the code that says delete this motherfucker. Presumably Bubble, because Bubble is part of Caine after all. Makes sense that he is in there too. On Caine's code, I mean. And he visibly dislikes Caine, or at least that's what he has proven through this episode specifically. This also kinda reinforces what I said before about Bubble being that eye that Caine killed. Gives him more than a valid reason to be mad at Caine. Okay, now having all this in mind, the excuses. I love Caine. I think that's very visible. But I want to point out something. Through the episode, the circus cast is not blaming him for all what he's doing, even if he should be, I guess. And this is something that surprised me a lot because because they now had a reason to blame him for all what he was doing to them. And they decide that he's broken. Let me explain. Caine is an AI. We all know that. But he is also very much conscious of his own existence and he has wants and needs. Which makes him not so artificial, but he is still a machine. I kind of forgot this when I was watching the episode, and that's why I got confused while watching it. Because my first impression was to think that all of what he was doing was, what's the word, genuine? He's literally torturing them now, with the intention to do it. And that's why I thought that all that I thought about Caine was wrong, and I fooled myself. But then my brain decided to work again. And I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't have gone through this realization if I hadn't been talking with characters in Character I, AI characters of roleplay. AI is very easy to break, and even if Caine is a very complex AI, he is practically as breakable as others. And what happens when you mix something that is easily breakable with barely developed emotions and consciousness? What do you get? A kid. Caine is childish, immature, still in development, if you know what I mean. And it only got him a few mean words to get all edgy lone wolf. Guess what happens when you install a character in any AI character talking app? You're right, exactly the same thing! But the cast had this interiorized, not like me. That's why I got so confused at first. And I hope that I'm not the only one, because then I just exposed myself for not. This explains why they talk about fixing him or controlling him using those exact words. Though there's something I cannot excuse him. Killing Abel. Or the other I mean. I just assume that's his name and I don't give a crap. I literally have no excuses. This was pure jealousy. And that's something I don't tolerate well. I could say that his immaturity made him do it, but that ain't better. I mean, yes, he was kind of trapped, and he was like the discarded one, and that hurts. But no, I don't like jealousy. I'm sorry. Something I also want to talk about is when the cast is confronting Caine. They aren't saying any lies, like at all. They're just spitting facts. And it made sense that he reacted like that, and childish as he is. He's a moron. But I love morons. Look at Whitley from Portal. Espera, creo que me he saltado una página. But jokes aside, he has a point. In his first crush out, he did got provoked, but that's all. But that also got mixed with what he had been feeling from before. Not validated, unwanted, lonely, unable to fulfill his purpose. Poor man. That that's what made him break. After all, failing at what you love doing, it's one of the worst pains you can go through. And I say this as someone that has gone through a lot. But it's better to fail than to not even try. So remember, if you fail, congrats. You are stronger and braver than most of all. Keep smiling, my little clowns, unless you don't feel like it. Wait, what do you mean 19 of June? What?
What's your favorite idea?